there's really two ways of how masculine guys end up becoming submissive. Either it is by choice, they have a secret curiosity, and in prison, for a lot of guys, prison seems to be like the perfect excuse to explore these fantasies or try out these, these curiosity things. That's the environment where they actually feel comfortable, that they're able to try, and it's understandable because you're surrounded by guys, you're trapped by guys. So that's the first reason it happens. And then the second reason, unfortunately, is like the example I gave you, guys being turned out. Hey beautiful, how you doing today? Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time joining us. Hi, my name is Lucky. I expose the men in prison, honey. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like that. Now, lately I've been enjoying responding to different people's comments and making video requests. Just if you have any questions, I love it. I think it's really cool that you have questions. I love that you're actually, taking an interest in this stuff. It's nice to actually finally tell the real truth about just gay life in prison and what it's actually like, rather than all this BS lies that these alleged straight guys tell all the time. So, speaking of straight guys, today's video is on an email that I got, and don't worry, I'm not going to shout you out because you did say that you're, private, and you didn't even want to post this like publicly. So I hope you don't mind, but just so people know like what brought on this topic, I just want to read the question. And this is an interesting question. Okay. Sir, which that's so polite, first of all, because, Lord knows do you know how many times on the phone I've been told, ma'am, ma'am, sorry, you're going to have to call back, or, okay, ma'am, okay. It's like, look, bitch, there's been a couple times I would respond to them people, I'm like, yes, sir, but anyway, sir, I wanted to send you an email rather than post my question in a public comment. I have met more than a few straight young ex-cons who had girlfriends and often baby mamas, yet in private were obviously experienced in being a submissive partner in gay sex. And sorry, I don't know how to post like screenshots and stuff like that on the camera, so my laptop's right here. I'm reading it. I always have my laptop connected. This way I can just transfer the video right over. But anyway, these young ex-cons were oh my god. These young ex-cons were not hustlers or male I'm really out of practice reading. Remember I used to read the prison diaries all the time? This is terrible. Picture me reading in class. Oh my gosh. These young ex-cons were not hustlers or male prostitutes, but when discretion was assured, they saw it as an opportunity to make easy money. I've been hopeful you would discuss this topic and explain how and why these young guys learn the submissive role while in prison. Thank you for your riveting and honest videos about an aspect of our society rarely publicly discussed. Best wishes to you and yours. Salutes. That is so sweet, and I really appreciate your email. That was such a nice email. This was my first time getting an email, actually, from anybody. This account, by the way, for anybody that's like, oh, let me send you an email, it's in my description. It's in every description of every video, or on the channel, you can, the email is posted. It's not like a, hidden thing. But, so, leave comments and, let me know what you'd like to hear, and you can send emails too. So that is really cool, and I appreciate your email. Now, answering this question, it's kind of, I'm sure that there's a lot of ways of how this actually happens, but there's two ways that I know of how this happens, just because of my personal experience meeting different, straight acting guys, either straight acting, like masculine guys, or alleged straight guys who literally were straight and, got somebody out on the streets, and they are doing something else behind their back. And I hate stuff like that. Like, I mean, I'm laughing about it, but to be honest, I'm disgusted by shit like that. I don't like it. I think that it's a very, very unfair thing to do to a woman. It's no different than me dating a guy and he's banging some chick. You know, like, I can't imagine Cam. I can't imagine Cam. I mean, I can, because Cam's very masculine, and it's not like he's never been with women, but let's say I go through all this trouble, get him out of prison, and come to find out he is banging some woman behind my back, I would be devastated. Like, how can you compete? Like, I think it's a terrible thing to do to women. But, you know, since we're talking about these dirt bags, let's just air out the dirty laundry, let it be known what they're doing, you know, then hopefully women, they can start getting hip to this stuff and, you know when to cut somebody loose because they ain't worth the trouble. So, two ways of how this actually occurs in prison is, one, it's just a secret interest. And I'm going to tell you two stories. I'm sure if I think hard, I could probably come up with a few more. But I've seen a lot of different guys that they were masculine, but you did kind of get an impression like maybe they are gay. There was one guy, when I first got to prison and I was at the state facility. I was at the state facility for 5 months, and then I was transferred to the private facility where I met Cam, and I did the rest of my time, served out the rest of my time. When I was at the state facility, there's two scenarios that come to mind. I was in one pod with this light-skinned guy. He was so cute. He reminded me of, like, I don't know, like a basketball player, like a light-skinned, very cute basketball player, like, you know, just very good looking. But I did always wonder if he was gay, just because of some of the ways he would look at me sometimes. Like, it's just such an interesting culture in there. Like, you know, gay guys, real bona fide gay guys, the way that you think of gay people, not like the flamboyant queens, which there's nothing wrong with people like that. I love all gay guys, you know, like the different variations of how, you know, one person can express himself. But that type of gay guy obviously is probably what you're thinking is just a queen in prison. But it's any person. This is why gay people, regular gay people, end up hiding themselves in prison. Because whether you want to or not, whether you intend to or not, or agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. Once you are publicly known in prison as a gay person, immediately you are scrutinized by how feminine or masculine you are. And whichever one is your natural, like, character, that is now the role that you play, period. For example, when I first started, the first prisoner that I had ever dated, for the Prison Diary people, his name was Brent. The first guy that I had dated, Brent, cute guy. I didn't know that he was very masculine. He was masculine. He played basketball. He used to fight. He beat up people. I have a prison diary where he done beat up, you know, a queen actually. But I didn't know this. When he was younger and he had first got in the system, he actually tried being a girl because he's seen the environment, and this is how it is. If you're a publicly gay person, you most of the time are encouraged to be like the woman part, the woman aspect, of course, because guys want to, you know, dig into somebody. They want to hump something. They be humping mattresses up in there. They have these things called squeezies or something like that. Fifis, I think is what they're called. And it's you get a glove from the chow hall, the kitchen, you know, you steal a glove from the kitchen and fill it up with warm water and you hump it, like with lotion in it or conditioner or whatever, you know, but yeah, fifis. But anyway, he had tried being a girl. Like, there were stories about it, you know, when I was dating him. This is when people would tell me this, because I guess I was supposed to flip out or something, that my man actually used to be a queen back in the day or something, because there's all these crazy rules in prison. And he even, like, he had thick eyebrows. Supposedly he had tweezed his eyebrows. He even tried wearing, like, makeup. And he would like to date, like, the older guys because they usually had known they knew how to do their time. They were very much like hip to penitentiary culture, helped him out, took care of him kind of thing. But he didn't, it just wasn't his natural character. He was naturally a very butched up person, a very masculine guy. However, sexually, he did like to do both roles. He liked, obviously, pinning somebody down, and then he himself liked to be pinned down from time to time. He was just that type of a regular gay guy to me. Like, he's just a regular gay guy. But because he wasn't naturally very feminine, and it was clearly an act, it just caused conflict. So he stopped being like that. He just started just being himself, and it just was uncomfortable. And now he dated queens, but he would try to find queens, basically kind of like me, which is why he liked me, that you could flip back and forth. It's a very difficult thing in prison, is my point. So getting back to the topic, straight guys who become submissive, I'm sorry. I was pointing out case scenarios. I'm getting a little bit too excited today. I'm excited because this is the first time in a while that I'm actually recording like by myself, so I feel like I'm able to talk as loud as I want. I'm able to just freely, express myself. I missed the car videos when I was in the car because I was able to, I didn't feel so self-aware. But anyway, there's two people that come to mind. There was the light-skinned guy that was in the pod, and just the way he kind of like looked at me, sometimes I didn't feel like he was checking me out. I actually felt like he wanted to befriend me, like to get to know me, and it was refreshing perhaps for him to see a queen that is carrying themselves as a gay person. Like, I was literally refusing to conform to these penitentiary rules. I still had a mustache, why was that a big deal? Your guess is as good as mine. I thought it would eventually just become old, but from the day I was in jail to prison to the day I was released, that was always something that was like shocking to people. It was always like a topic of conversation. If my name came up and people were talking about me, or if people were talking to me, it just was always something like a question, or maybe like a comment, a joke, or just a statement. Like if they were telling me about something that they were talking about with somebody else, and they're like, yeah, and as I'm explaining, I'm like, yeah, the girl with the mustache. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, I used to get looks from him where I felt like that was maybe the reason why he would stare at me sometimes. It didn't come across as like he was checking me out. And then him himself, he did have a slight like whisper of like, I don't know if femininity is the right word, but just softness, I guess, to him that was different from other guys, so it did make me wonder, like, oh, I wonder if he's gay, and plus he was really cute. And then there was these two white guys at the state facility that they told everybody they were cousins, and both of them were gorgeous. I would have had either one of them or both of them. Oh my gosh. Like, both of these guys were beautiful, these two white guys, and I can see why they were paired up with each other. And you could clearly see, even though they were supposedly cousins, supposedly straight, you could clearly see who was the feminine one and who was the masculine one. Because the masculine guy, these are prison rules, how you keep things clear. The masculine guy, he had a chin strap, like goatee, even though that you're not supposed to, they had like grooming policies, which they've done away with since I got out. But while I was in there, they had them. And it was interesting at this state facility how some guys could get away with certain things, and then other guys, the COs, they would be down on you. But anyway, this guy, he had the chin strap goatee, facial hair, and the other guy was clean shaven all the time, and he had such a pretty face. They both looked like models. One could have been like, GQ model, which would have been, I guess, like the masculine guy, and then the other guy could have been like a Calvin Klein model, just like the pretty clean shaven face, like popping eyes. I can't remember if they were blue or green, but I just remember it was a very light color, like his eyes, you know. And they were always together, always together. Every time, that is like the first sign of a relationship, because that's what you do in prison. When you are with somebody, it's for security purposes. It's also for claiming purposes, I guess, like to showcase that this person is yours, you know, because they're always with you. So nobody ever really has an opportunity to try and take this person from you. You know, you know. And then also you're doing time. I mean, where else are you gonna go? Who else are you gonna be around? Like, you're just with the person all day long, every day, like chained to them, literally attached at the hip. And this was the first time I had seen it. These guys were always together on the rec yard, in the pod, going to chow. And if for some reason, like maybe somebody had to go to medical, or maybe was speaking with a CO and the CO shooed the other one away, because they would just wait for each other. But if for any reason you would see one of them get to the chow hall first and the other is not with him, that person would not eat his food. Like, he'd get his tray, and because the COs always try to bum rush you out of the chow hall, he would get his tray, and it was usually the feminine one that I had seen that would sometimes get there before his man, and he would just sit there, like, and not eat his food, and until his man came in, went through the line, got his tray, sat down at the table, then they would start eating together. Like, and everybody knew it. Everybody knew that they were a couple, but people just went with the fact that they were supposedly cousins. Granted, they were both white, but they did not, and they were both cute, but they did not look nothing alike. You know, they didn't look alike. But hey, maybe they was cousins. Not all cousins look alike, but a lot of people had speculated that they probably were a couple. I think that they were a couple. And that's just an example of actual gay guys. To me, these people are the gay people, and this is why I'm constantly saying, like, actual gay, you know, homosexuality, it really don't exist in prison, because the public ones are queens, such as myself, and the video, I had made a storytime video about the queen that felt like she needed to be not that she needed to be in transition, but that she was in transition, even though he liked football and didn't want to take hormones because he enjoyed the way his body looked. He was cut and built and worked out every day, like, smart guy. And when he had first came out, because he was somebody, he told me his backstory, we got friendly, like close, and he came into the system straight. And when he first came out, he was actually trying to be the man to the queens, because he liked, you know, tagging people, tagging the guys, like pinning the guys. And when he wanted to switch places, a lot of queens in prison, for some bizarre reason, not all of them, I would say like 60 to 40%, maybe a little higher, 70 to 30%. Most queens, they don't like guys like that. They want a straight guy. Like, they want the guy to view them as a woman, treat them like a woman, and have zero interest in backdoor activity, unless it is directed towards them. You know what I'm saying? So when that was like an issue, hey Brianna, when that was like an issue, then that's how he ended up becoming a she. Started switching places and eventually became a queen that wore makeup and felt like needs to be in transition, because 8 years later, or 6 years, he had been down for 8 total years, and 2 of them he was straight, and then the following 6 years is when he was, you know, publicly a gay queen in prison. But 6 years in of you trying to be as womanly as possible every day, and, you know, selling the story, it's like, yeah, eventually you do start to kind of like feel like it. Now, with straight guys, that is, I say all of that because I'm sure at this point, if you're still watching, you're probably like, what did any of this have to do with the question? I say all of that as to explain why a guy who is submissive would want that to be a secret. Like, he wouldn't come out and now just be like a straight, a masculine guy who is a queen, because that wouldn't be acceptable. It wouldn't be acceptable. And really, actually, now that I think about it, it actually is because homosexuality is not accepted in prison. It's just not, now that I think about it. So this is actually the way that it's bypassed, is that technically these guys are acting like girls, so that's what makes it kind of like passable, you know. But a masculine guy that's wanting to be humped, that would not fly. Like, that guy probably would get beaten up. Like, queens, we don't get attacked unless you're being attacked by your husband or somebody that you're sleeping with and now you're playing games with him or something. But as far as like just being assaulted by regular people, it doesn't happen, because you'll have a rack of guys who are interested in you get that person, you know. But I think that a masculine guy who is probably enjoying backdoor stuff, they probably would be attacked, because now it's threatening the manhood of the other masculine guys, you know. And I think that's why actually Cam is having problems now. He's not like that, but being that he's masculine and he keeps just publicly being like, yeah, I'm gay, my fiance, I love him, and all of this stuff, my baby, this and that. I think that's what makes so many people uncomfortable in there now with around him, because he's masculine and gay, you know. And it's just, it breaks the rules. So with straight guys who engaged in this, there's two people that come to mind that I knew. There was this one guy, I'm gonna definitely put his timestamp on this, 20 minutes. There was one guy, this was a terrible video. I should probably re-record this one, because 20 minutes in and I'm just getting to the point. I'm sorry. But there's one guy that I'll just put a timestamp in for, I guess, anybody that's rushing to try and get to, you know, get to this. But there's a guy that I was in the program at the prison, and the job that I had at the time was laundry. That was like a job, you know. They had all these different jobs in the program: desk jobs, service jobs where like you're cleaning the pod, and then there was jobs where like you're monitoring, you know, the community, like the pod, basically, because you can catch tickets in this program. So the job that I had at the time was working laundry, and there was this guy, straight, had a wife, as a matter of fact. You would never guess anything funny about him. He was quiet. He was very quiet. But when I was doing his laundry, in his laundry bag, he had 3 handmade thongs that he had made. Thongs. Like out of the briefs that you buy on property. Like you can buy underwear on property. And he had 3 thongs underwear that he had made into thongs. And the thing that I thought that was interesting about this is because Cam and a friend of mine, somebody else that like I knew in the program, also worked laundry at the time. And I had told Cam about it, and then Cam had ended up telling this other guy, because he was like friendly with us, like just, you know, not part of the community, but like, you know, knew a lot of gay people, probably part of the community, probably. But when they washed his bags, because then after this was like known, they paid attention, because then when they were working their shift of laundry and they had to wash his bag too, how it went is they would go down the wall, you know, like on the left side of the pod you're washing clothes, then the back side, and then the right side. And if it just so happened that they were also washing his bag during their shift, they would check to see what he had, and it wouldn't be in the bag. The only time that I guess he felt comfortable with people seeing that he had this was when I was working. So the only time that it was seen, and for a second there, Cam didn't even believe me. It was like 2 times that Cam was working, and he's like, I didn't see no thongs out. Are you sure? And I'm like, I'm sure. And then the next time when I was working and I, you know, had his bag and I saw it, because the laundry area was like, our cell was on the top tier in the corner, and like against this back wall on the end is where like the washer and dryers were. So I actually, during my shift, sometimes I would go into the cell when it's like count time and everybody's locked down. and I'm still out because I'm washing clothes, I would go into the cell sometimes, and Kim and I, we would have a little quickie, and then I would go back to work. But anyway, I showed him, like, I had the guy's clothes, and showed him, like, see, and Kim was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so that's one example of just, now, what does that say? I don't know. Like, did this guy, you know, be doing stuff? But why do you have 3 thongs if nobody's gonna see it? Maybe he just liked wearing it. Maybe he was just freaky like that. You know, for all you know, I know that there's guys that are freaky with their women. Like, and more power to you. Like, I love it. You know, just, you know, everybody's entitled to their own thing. And who knows? Maybe this is something that they used to do on the streets, and now he made it so this way while they're on the phone, he can tell her, like, yeah, I got the special underwear on or something. I don't know, for all I know. Because that's my whole point of when I talk about the straight acting guys. I get a lot of questions about them, and I don't really know what to say, because that's why I just say they don't exist. Because it's very, very secretive in prison. Out and about gay people, you have to fall into either the female or male role. Regular gay guys, they are hidden. Hidden away. So this way nobody knows. That's just, you know, that's just how it is. So there's him, and then the second guy, because I almost forgot, actually became a friend of mine. Now this guy is actually pertaining to, I would say, answering this email, this question. His name, I don't have a name for him yet. I guess we can call him Ring. Ring was a hoot. Cool, good looking black guy. He used to have a beard just like how I had. I've seen my first video when I first got home. That's how I looked when I was in prison. Encouraged by Cam, he wanted me to have a beard, and I loved it. That was the first time I've ever had a beard. Y'all see, this whole time I've been out, I don't have a beard. I just never have. Until then, Cam encouraged me to wear a beard, or not wear a beard, but to grow my beard in. Ring also had a beard too, just naturally. He liked it, and he was in the closet. Everybody knew Ring was gay. But he was the type of person he'd deny, and spin the story and, you know, deflect the whole thing, the whole 9. But the reason why everybody knew is because he was such a slut. He was sleeping with so many different guys. And I just thought of something, like, I'm not even answering the question, but I'm just giving you a little bit of a story right now. He slept with so many different guys, and that's how a lot of people knew, but it was definitely secretive, which to tell, and that's how we became friends. He thought that it was cool that I was not your typical queen, and I just loved him because he was actually a real gay guy. Like, to me, he was the type of guy that I would be friends with, like, out here. Like, he was a gay guy. Like, you know, his business was his own. He did not think of himself as a queen. He was not a queen. He didn't, you know, refer to him as a queen. But at the same time, he was definitely gay, and he was so fun and funny, you know, and he loved, you know, gay things. Like, he loved music. He was very creative. He was very smart, you know, like, articulate. Like, I just loved him. Ring was the coolest guy, and we've talked off and on since I've been out. Actually, to tell you the truth, I just said hi to him today, kind of, because I was talking to Cam, and it just so happened Ring was working around in the area in the pod, and he was like, "Oh, Ring's in here in the pod," and I was like, "Oh, cool." And we were arguing this morning. And in the middle of us arguing, I guess at some point Ring came around, and he was like, "Ring says hi," and I was like, "Oh, tell him I said hi." But yeah. Anyway, how Ring came to doing stuff like this is because he was actually raped, you know, by somebody in there. And I thought that Ring was, because of how he acted, I thought that he was actually getting on the streets, and it shocked me when he told me he wasn't. That he'd been with a few guys, but they were like friends that, you know, one night drinking too much or smoking too much weed, something happened, and you know, something. And there was only one time that he said that he had a girlfriend at the same time that he had a boyfriend for like 2 years, and eventually they came to know about each other, and it was kind of like they had like this threesome going on. Ray was a wild guy. He was really wild. But he like, when I would talk to him about like gay clubs and gay bars and just the gay scene and stuff, I just knew that he had been to these places. And he said he never been. He was like, I've never actually done that kind of stuff. I would now, like if I was out now, I would definitely go to these type of things. But you know, before he was just different. He was different. A little bit, I think, probably more masculine than after what had happened to him happened. And then he ended up becoming the way he is. So, finishing off this video, and my point at the beginning of this, is there's really two ways of how masculine guys end up becoming submissive. Either it is by choice, they have a secret curiosity, and in prison, for a lot of guys, prison seems to be like the perfect excuse to explore these fantasies or try out these, you know, these curiosity things. That's the environment where they actually feel comfortable, that they're able to try, and it's understandable because you're surrounded by guys, you're trapped by guys. So that's the first reason it happens. And then the second reason, unfortunately, is like the example I gave you, guys being turned out. And that's why in prior videos I've said that you would be surprised. I thought, just like everybody would think, that most of the rapes that occur in prison occur with guys like me, queens, feminine gay guys, you know, gay guys, or the transgender people. But actually, it doesn't, because we are willing participants. So people know that, and rather than try to take it, they want the consent. They want to charm you. They want you to like them. So they actually try to get to know you and make you like them and find out what makes you respond to them, you know. But it's the straight guys, or the straighter acting guys, those are the ones that actually get raped more than anybody else. Like, there's several people that I have heard stories about while I was in there, or met personally, and they told me, you know, that happened to them, like, while they were in there. And I even met people the way they did it, and that's the type of people that they targeted. Even if you think about those of you that seen my Big Herc video responding to Chocolate Thunder, if you think about that video, the guy was straight, and he said that he got in the cell with this dude that's like, I'm gonna take your butt tonight, or whatever. I'm gonna go up in your butthole tonight, or whatever. Like, those are usually the guys that actually get raped, is the straight acting guys who are pretty looking, good looking, you know, attractive. So, and it always makes me worry if Cam has some secrets that he never told me about. I have worried in the past, but he reassures me, so I don't know. But there are things that have happened in our relationship that has me question him sometimes, and he's very secretive. So, I don't know, but I just try to just love him, and that's my answer to this video. I hope that it was good. I think that it wasn't exactly delivered maybe the best. I might re-record this one, maybe not, I don't know. But if you have any other questions, send me an email, leave a comment. You know, hopefully this video was okay. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.